There we go. So, welcome to the workshop Becoming Unfuckwithable, where we activate our personal powers again. I would love to make these sessions really interactive. So, the intention here is to have some reflective questions for us and also for the people who are watching this in the recording who can't be live today, and have a little conversation about confidence as well. So I'll bring in some inputs, I'll bring in some conversational topics as well. And then what I would love to look at for today in terms of confidence is nervous system reset, right? It is one of the most important parts for us to feel safe and confident, to have a regulated nervous system. So to get started, the first question that I would love to have you ponder on is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident do you feel? And you can just take a moment, maybe close your eyes even, and really feel into your body and check in with you. How confident do you feel? And then you can add that into the chat. And for some reason, I can't see my chat. Yes, there we go. Leila says 9, very nice. Komen says 4. So I would love to invite you next to think about when it is that you feel most confident. So what is a situation, what are circumstances where you feel most confident? You can type it in the chat as well again, or if you feel like you want to share on camera, you can also do that. Leila says, when I wear lingerie. Awesome. So in terms of confidence, do you feel if you talk about being super confident or being not so confident, is there areas in your life that you feel the complete opposite? Is there maybe an area in your life where you actually don't feel confident, or is there an area in your life or a moment in life when you do actually feel confident? So if the number you gave is like your average, but is there maybe also another truth to your confidence level? And again, you can either type it in chat or hold up your hand to come speak. I lack career confidence. Okay. I was just going to say, is there a way that you can combine the way that you feel confident with the way that you don't feel confident? That would be an interesting topic, Leila, right? Actually, maybe not even. Like, is there a way that you could imagine combining the two so that you would feel more confident in the low confidence area by using something that makes you feel confident? Gomez says, I don't feel confident in my relationship with people because of past experiences. All right. And is there areas in your life that you actually do feel very confident, Gomez? in my career and education. All right. So if we're looking at our confidence level, we often have a tendency to just say either like, yes, I'm confident or I'm not confident. I'm a confident person or I'm not a confident person. Yet confidence is actually quite circumstantial as well. So it often depends either on a situation or an area in life or a skill that we're um, portraying, that we're practicing. But it can also be related to the people that are around us, our audience, the people that are watching us, the people that surround us in that moment. So maybe even a situation in which you feel very confident, if you change the surrounding in your environment and your audience, your confidence might potentially also change, true or false. And I would love for us to open the mic for this one to, yeah, maybe just share some words and get a little bit into a conversation around that. Obviously, again, it's an invitation. If you feel rather you want to share via chat, you're more than welcome to do that too. And just take a moment to, yeah, to reflect on like, okay, actually, I said that my confidence level from a scale of 1 to 10 is 4. There's areas in my life where I actually feel a 10 out of 10 confident. If I said that my confidence level overall is 9, but maybe there's an area in my life where actually my confidence level is 1 or almost 0. Is that true or not? And yeah, let's chat about why that potentially is.
I'll come on camera and talk about it for a second because I was having a very similar conversation. I'm collaborating with a swimwear company who wants to add confidence coaching into the swimwear purchase, and um, we were very focused on the people that you surround yourself with, and partnering with like maybe doing some sort of like buy one get one discount so 2 people can join the mastermind together and take the class, because everybody has or should have what we call a hype man. You know, that person, that partner, that friend that is like, oh my God, yes, wear that lipstick, you look amazing, I love how you look. Everybody needs that person in their life, and it's so integral to have good people um, in your corner, kind of backing you up and being that voice inside your head that's like, I'm so proud of you, you're doing this, you're capable, or whatever it is. But a lot of times we hear other people's voices in our heads when we're doing things. It's not our own voices and thoughts, it's other people's. So the people you surround yourself with is so important, because those are the voices that you hear when you're by yourself.
Mm-hmm. So what do you say? So then it is true that depending on the people that you have around you, like your confidence level can also change, right? I imagine you saying like you feel the most confident when you're wearing lingerie. Is that like lingerie visible, or is that just lingerie also underneath your regular garments? And then is that again like dependent on your audience, on the people around you, right? So if you're literally just only covered by lingerie, your confidence level might not be so high if you're out in public with that. So so just bringing a little bit of nuance to what confidence actually is, and really bringing the understanding that it is circumstantial as well. And I love how you just shared that it is super important to have these hype people in our life. But my question is, if somebody doesn't have a hype person in their life, are they doomed? Will they never be able to build that confidence by themselves?
No, I mean, you can be your own hype man. You can rewire your brain to and that's where the lingerie is usually like a trick that I use for myself because when you put lingerie on, well, at least most people or at least I do is you feel good. Like, oh, I look cute. And so it's always been kind of my secret weapon. Like if I have a big meeting or I'm gonna go speak on stage or something that I feel less confident in, I will put that lingerie on underneath whatever it is I'm wearing because then I feel like deep down inside, I'm like, oh, it's okay if I don't get this job. I look good. Like, so it gives me my own little boost of confidence. So you don't necessarily have to have a hype man, but you do have to have something that you can fall back on, whether it's a breath work or meditation or um, something.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that to have that anchor and that maybe almost like a trigger, you have almost like a trigger practice or a trigger clothing that you're using, and it can be different for anyone, right? What I hear also, what is even more important than the lingerie in itself, is like through the lingerie, you start seeing yourself differently and you start appreciating yourself differently. And that's
Hmm.
really what we want to find the connection to. It's learning to give ourselves the appreciation that we're looking for. It's about feeling good in our own body without the voices of people around us, right? So having hype people around us, yes, might help, but then what if these hype people are not there? Then we lack that confidence again. So it's just a crutch. It's a crutch for the moment. It can help us gain that confidence, but eventually we want to try to really aim for that deep-seated knowing that I'm good. I'm good and I'm gonna be okay no matter what challenge is gonna come at me. And that obviously takes time and takes practice, and it is very supportive if you have people around you that can either remind you of how good you are, remind you that you got this, remind you that it's not gonna last forever, and having practices that help supporting that. And that's where I want to bring it to the practice of regulating our nervous system. Because when we don't feel confident, it is usually because we don't feel safe in our body. And if we don't feel safe in our body, or because we don't feel safe in our body, usually because we feel a threat in our surrounding. We don't feel safe, trustworthy, or trusting the people around us. We don't feel supported by them. And so our nervous system goes into fight, flight, or freeze mode, into these stress expressions, right? And if we are in fight flight mode, then obviously it's depending on where it is, like it can turn into like super confidence in a moment because you just really need to fight that threat, but that's not real confidence. That's like a coping mechanism in that moment. So what I've come to explore and realize is the power of having a regulated nervous system, not necessarily a calm nervous system. We always think like, oh, I just need to calm down your nervous system. It's not a calm nervous system that we need, but a regulated one. A nervous system that's at ease, that feels good, that can be activated positively. So it can get into action, into not fight, flight, but run and do, but it can also go into reset and trust and surrender very easily without feeling afraid. And so what I would love to invite us to do in these next 10-ish minutes is to do two practices, actually. And these are two super simple practices that I love to do with my clients as well, and myself too. uh, One is a breathing exercise. So you might already know that, but just regulating the breath. It's the thing that we always have with us. And through the breath, we can instantly activate a calmer nervous system. And then I'll share a nervous system reset exercise that's super, super simple. I call it the beach pose. And there's zero excuse for anybody to not do it because I don't have time or whatever. You can do it in the morning just after waking up, and then in the evening just before falling asleep. Doing it for a week or 10 days ideally, and just watch how your confidence changes in interaction with people and presenting yourself, etc. Would be really, really interesting for us. I would love to invite you to do that after watching this, and yeah, maybe refer back to me how it went. So breathing exercise is going to be super simple. Inhaling for a count of 4, pausing for a count of 2, and then exhaling for a count of 6, pausing again for 2, breathing in for 4. I will guide you for the first 3 rounds, and then I'll let you do 3 more rounds in your own rhythm. So the idea here is just really to breathe in for about 4 seconds, maybe it's just 3 seconds, but then a little bit longer exhalation and making a short pause at the inhale, after the inhale, and after the exhalation. Yeah. So I invite you to just find a comfortable seat, relaxing your shoulders, and maybe even close your eyes for a moment. And just take a deep breath in through the nose, seal your lips, and exhale out through the mouth. Open the mouth. Good. Seal the lips again. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ease in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Continue to find your own rhythm. And if your nose is clear, keep breathing in and out through the nose. And if not, use your mouth. No problem. Notice if your shoulders are tensing up as you breathe. Try to relax them. And try to breathe into your belly, into your diaphragm, your rib cage, rather than just the top of your lungs. Do 2 more rounds. And whenever you're done with your last exhalation, just let your breath flow naturally again. Keep your eyes still closed for a couple moments. Just observe your body breathing naturally by itself again. Observe how you're feeling inside. And then whenever ready, you can slowly open your eyes again and come back into the room. And if you feel to share how it made you feel, how the experience was, feel free to add in the chat, or again, feel free to also speak. But no pressure. If nothing is coming, we move into the next exercise in a moment. All right. So I hope that you did feel a little bit of a calming down as you breathe. Obviously, breathing is also it's something that gets to be relearned again. A lot of us don't really know how to fully use the full lung capacity. And I hope next time to instruct a little bit more, but I want to invite you, if you continue doing this exercise, to really feel a full 360-degree expansion of your rib cage as you breathe in, and really trying to let the breath move into the belly, but then also from the belly expanding to the top and out into all directions, almost like a sun shining or a balloon blowing up in all directions and contracting back into its corner or into its core space. Awesome. Cool. So the beach pose. It is pretty much what it sounds like. When we lay on the beach, we usually lay ourselves on our back, we interlace the hands and we put them behind our head, and we're just like fully surrendered, open, ready for the sun to soak us, ready for the wind to caress us. And by doing that, we're usually signaling the body that we're safe, right? Like opening up the armpits, opening up the body fully, and not being in a contracted position is a physical sign for the body and for the nervous system to know, okay, I'm safe. If we're having a body posture that's more curled up and turned inwards, it's often more like a sign for the nervous system, like, oh, okay, there's a threat, I'm not feeling fully safe. So through our body posture, we can support our nervous system to regulate. Breathing is one. Obviously, also when we breathe, we want to keep the body and the chest, everything nice and open. And then for this exercise, now I really want to invite you afterwards to go onto the floor or onto the couch real quick, or onto the bed if you're close, and lay down with your legs stretched out and your fingers interlaced behind your head like this. Nose pointing up towards the ceiling. And then we're simply gonna turn the eyes all the way to the left without turning the head for about 4 deep in and exhalations. That's about 45 to 60 seconds. If we breathe in for a count of 4, breathe out for a count of 4. Once you've done that, you gaze back to the middle and gaze all the way to the right side. Do the same thing. You don't have to force your gaze. We are not aware how much muscles actually are around our eyes and working with our eyes. And if we're not training our eyes to like go into full ranges, then these muscles are not very trained. So look as far as it goes, but without giving you a headache. And over time, we want to try to bring it further and further. And as you do that, I invite you to observe for any spontaneous nervous system reset or releases. So one very obvious one is a yawn. Yawning oftentimes is a signal for the body to go into reset, into nervous system regulation. Deep swallow, that's not an easy one to spot, but swallowing without you actively swallowing is another one. The third one is, what was it? A sigh. And a sigh is an automated extra inhalation. So if you breathe and then you observe your body just going for like a before it exhales, that's a sigh. There was a fourth one that I can't recollect right now. Let's just go for these 3. So just observe if something happens. If nothing happens, totally fine. Stuff still happens, even if it's not so obvious for you. So it's going to take 2 minutes. So I invite you to go and find a cozy spot somewhere on the floor or on your bed. And if you don't have a space, you can also do it seated. It's a little bit more active, and if you're not used to sitting up straight, it can be quite exhausting for you to sit upright like this. So I invite you to do that laying down so that the body really can relax. And then once you're ready, fingers interlaced behind your head, eyes closed, nose pointing forward or up towards the ceiling. Actually, eyes open, sorry. And then start gazing all the way to the left. And deeply breathing in through the nose, and breathing out. You can breathe out through the nose or through the mouth, however it feels. Just try to elongate your in-breath and your out-breath. And observe if there's any tension happening in the body, any spontaneous yawning or swallowing, sighing. Let's do one more deep cycle here. And then slowly bring the gaze over to the other side, keeping the nose pointing forward or up. And again, breathe deeply, softly and slowly. Notice if your shoulders are tensing up, try to continuously release them. Observe if there is any spontaneous movements happening. Let's do one more cycle. And then slowly bringing the gaze back to neutral. Pause for a moment here and just again feel inside into the body, how you're feeling. And whenever you're ready, coming back to the screen, to the room. And I would love to hear your experience with this.
So I felt that this was nice and calming and relaxing. It was weird for me to focus on my breath and my vision at the same time. That was new for me. I did end up yawning a few times. I'm not sure if it's just because it's, 5 in the morning here, or I was just in a really deep, relaxed state. But that was definitely different, and I like that. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, and there's definitely, as far as I've seen so far, there's usually one trigger that's like almost personal. So for me, it's like if I start on the right side, I don't have an instant yawn. If I start on the left side, there's like usually an instant yawning, like almost within a couple of seconds already. And I like to stay within it anyway for like 45 seconds to 60 seconds. But usually, like after you have that release, it's almost like you can already change the side. I wonder, like, what was difficult for you in terms of vision and breath focus? Did you feel that your eyes would go back if you focus on the breathing, or was it hard for you to count? What was the experience there?
I would forget the breathing because, like I said, the focus was new. So I was like, oh, how far can I look? And then I'm like, oh, I'm not taking deep breaths. And I did that on both sides, and I was like, huh, this is new.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, the deep breaths definitely just add on. And it helps because usually you don't keep track of the seconds while you're in there. And for most people, well, for most people, actually, it's 5 cycles that gets you to the 60 seconds, right? But then I know for people at the beginning, it's oftentimes quite intense for their eyes, so I go for 45 seconds for 4 cycles first. Yeah, but it's definitely new things, so it makes sense that there's like, oh my gosh, like, okay, even though it's such simple, like it's such simple things, right? And yet the brain just needs to recalibrate itself. So I love that you shared that. Komi says, I definitely needed this breath of fresh air. Yes, exactly. And yeah, so when I did this for the first time, I think it was about 2 years ago, I did this exercise for a good week, 10 days. And I felt I didn't even do it purposefully around like being less anxious in social environments, but I could feel myself being so much more confident and less insecure and less triggered if I was in environments with people that I normally wouldn't feel the most confident. And so that was super, super interesting for me to observe, to see that just doing this practice every morning, every night. So literally just after waking up, you're still in bed. You just put your hands behind your head. You do this quick exercise before you wake up, and then you start your day. And then before you fall asleep, you're already in bed anyway. Just before you close your eyes, you just put your hands back. You signal your body as like, I'm safe, I'm sound, I'm good. And then going into sleep with this state has you a much better reset and rejuvenation at night. And you're also cultivating positive emotions, positive feelings, positive sensations, which then translate again into feeling safer the next day in environments that might be normally a little bit threatening for you. And then you keep rebuilding that muscle of like, okay, no, I have myself. I get to be my own cheerleader, my own hype woman, and I don't need anybody outside to give that to me. It's obviously nice to have it, but I don't need it. So I highly encourage you to try that out. And maybe you can set an intention if there is a surrounding or a situation in your life right now that you don't feel so safe or don't feel so confident, and then just see how that evolves. And I will check in with you again in a week or so to see, yeah, to see how that changed, if you were able to do that. So I want to open up also the space for the last 5 minutes real quick for any questions or any things that any of you have in terms of confidence. If there's something that you really don't understand of why you're not confident in a certain area. And Kome also just added the link exactly. So if you would like to explore this further in a one-on-one, go a little bit deeper with this, feel free to schedule a call. Whether you're watching this in the replay or you're here live, I would really love to help you build that confidence. And there's lots of little simple tricks that we can do in which we don't need to change our surrounding necessarily to be able to cultivate that. Because confidence is all about self-sufficiency, and we want to be the ones that generate that confidence, not needing it from the outside. So yeah, that being said, if there is any questions, you can say so. And if not, I thank you very much for being here. Yes, Laila.
I do have a question. What is the significance of looking left and right? I know you said to train our eye muscles because it's a very often neglected muscle, but is there any psychological significance to the looking left and right while you're in that position?
It's physical. It's physical. So your eye muscles are directly linked to the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is the biggest nerve in our body, that goes like all the way up from from the brain all the way down to the sacrum, and it spreads out into so many different areas, into the heart region, into the whole facial expression stuff as well, the guts, obviously lower down. So breathing helps stimulate the vagus nerve, and the eyes, with this motion, with this movement, has also that soothing effect to the vagus nerve, actually. So I recorded a video 2 years ago when I started doing that, so I can share that with you. You can listen in a little bit more. It's all about the polyvagal theory. It's very interesting, and I think you'd love that as well if you don't know that yet.
I've heard about it, but not extensively. So yeah, I'd love it if you shared that with me. That would be awesome. Thank you.
Very, very interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And then, I think eye muscles, just training that again, it just helps the body also release that. Thank you for the question. I forgot to mention that, because it's not just train the eyes, it's really to do that movement to trigger that reset in the vagus nerve. Cool. All right, so I really invite you to try this out and see how that can boost your 9 out of 10 confidence into a 10 out of 10 confidence. Your 4 out of 10 into a hopefully 6 or 7 out of 10 to start with. And also observe, in which situation in your life do you feel confident and why? And in which situations do you feel not confident and why? And then see how you can maybe intersect and try to bring in things from one into the other so that you can balance that out a little bit more. And know that confidence is practiced inside. And you can do that just training like a muscle. And the beach pose is going to help you do that. So thank you so much for spending your lunch break with me. And next one will be again in 2 weeks from now. So I'm running these fabulous lunch breaks every 2 weeks, live here on LinkedIn and on Zoom. And just talking about different topics in the nervous system a lot. So thank you for being here. Take care.